Walker ran out. A dimly lit street, buildings barely discernible in the dark. Everything was happening at once, like a summer dip in the river, skin registering the difference of a body underwater and shoulders warmed by the sun, a pre-dive inhale giving a jolt to the heart. "This way," a voice called out. A stream of light scattered, then twisted to the left. Walker followed it, a gradual sense of foreboding illuminating what he was sure to see when he got there. Not much of a consolation, this knowing. Once his gaslit guiding light unexpectedly bounced up, roaming the wall, Walker spotted the wheel of a wheelbarrow. It cast a shadow on the house across the street, a round one, dissected by wheel spokes. Blindly walking along the pavement, invisible in the darkness, he came to realize that the decisive moment he'd been delaying had come at last. The light beam was still roaming above him, and Walker was finally able to make out who was directing it. A squat and long-armed shape, resembling either a giant crab or a not yet humanized ape. Batten, his silhouette flat as if carved out of cardboard, waved at him. Walker squeaked the latticed door open. Behind it, by the wall, as if she had just slidden onto her side, lay a woman. She lay there unencumbered, her head thrown back as if she had gotten the bright idea to feign being asleep. Walker looked from afar at her black skirt, her large feet, her bloodied fingers clutching a satchel of some kind. He began to approach. In the depths of the courtyard, through the open windows of the same International Working Men's Educational Club from which, just an hour prior, a crowd of onlookers had been ushered out, there now came soft candlelight, which was somehow fitting for this woman, for this wall. "If I had wanted to kill her, I would have found a quieter spot," said Batten, as he moved his lamp, having only now noticed the woman's crepe hat that seemed purposefully cast aside. To think that they were dancing inside while out here. Poor thing. "Need more light." Walker bent down and, paying no mind to the grasp of dead fingers, freed the satchel from her hand. Her face was unlike the photographs of the other women. It wasn't simply a question of facial features, but rather that her face was lively and warm. Walker was surprised to find that he felt not disgust toward it, but regret. His heart was confounded, his knees weak, and had the candle burnt brighter, he would have collapsed, absurdly and shamefully. Before he had a chance to pinpoint the cause of this feverish horror, Walker found himself thinking about things accidental: his meeting with Parsons, Bruno the apprentice holding gloves in his reddish hands, and Batten's office, that place to which he had sworn never to return. These essentially meaningless, vague images were now presenting themselves as more meaningful than the smiling woman splayed out by the wall, with her leg bent contrary to all laws of nature. "Most imprudent," said Walker, imagining the music and the intermittent flow of people spilling into the yard. A bit too much so, in fact. Batten spoke on a single note, as if he moved around, and as he moved around, the monotone of his voice and his movements seemed to suggest that there was no body with a certain boutonniere, with a certain leg, that its mere presence was deceit. In his mind, Walker could almost hear an ugly little violin tune snaking around behind the candles. And so, they must have walked out into the yard in order to... But why here, in this yard, where there's music, the hustle and bustle of people, where there's light? Let's say her client had unusual proclivities. That's possible. But if she lay down on the ground willingly, she would have first placed her satchel in her pocket. "Quite strange, don't you think?" he asked, dumping the contents of the satchel into Batten's open palm. "Lollies?" "Catches, Walker. She must have had a sore throat." "Allow me to not be satisfied with this explanation," Walker replied. He once again bent down and searched inside her pocket. It was empty. "A little help?" As they were turning her over, a cold, dark liquid began to stream from under her neckerchief. A shadow receded in a nearby lit-up window, and then the window went dark.